Hi guys, and welcome to this great episode of the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. At the moment, as I'm recording, I'm outside Shrewsbury Abbey. We've had a great day recording content for World Suicide Prevention Day. But I thought while I'm behind the microphone record the intro for this episode you're about to hear. This one that I've recorded today, you can hear in a few days' time. This episode is featuring Nick from Shrewsbury Comic-Con. If you know about me, which if you know about me, you know I'm a bit of a nerd, a bit of a geek. I love my Star Trek, love my Star Wars, my comic books. So a Comic-Con for me is perfect. I've been to Comic-Cons before. We've been to Comic-Salopia, which we had a big part of. So as soon as we saw that Shrewsbury was getting his own Comic-Con, I jumped on it very, very quickly, and I'm glad I did because Nick is a great guy. You'll hear that very soon in this podcast. And so I want to say thank you to Nick for coming out and speaking to me. I hope you enjoy this. Nick is looking for sponsors or anybody that wants to get affiliated with Shrewsbury Comic-Con. So please get in touch with him if you would like to help out and be a part of what looks like a fantastic event. So yeah, I will leave you with this podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you guys at the end of this interview with Nick from Shrewsbury Comic-Con. Enjoy. Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's a great day today because I've been away doing stuff, been on holiday, started a new job, and I've done a couple of interviews virtually, which is great. We spoke to Hazel last week on the interwebs, and I do love speaking to people, but there's nothing better for me than speaking to people in person. And this is the first time in a while. So today I'm speaking to Nick, who's organising Shrewsbury Comic-Con. Now, if you know me, I'm a bit of a nerd. I've just been filling Nick in with kind of my background with podcasts, the Billy Wests of it all, and the Ralph Garmans, and all the people that we've spoken to over the years with You Suck and Thorskin. But today it's closer to home. And I've got a big history with this because I don't know if Nick is aware, but when the Shrewsbury Biscuit first started, we got a good friend in Shane Chebsey, who's a good friend of mine, and he did Comic-Salopia, which was an amazing event. And I'll be forever grateful for Shane because he let us have a studio for 2 days there at Comic-Salopia. And as people were doing panels, they were coming straight out into our studio doing interviews. We were interviewing like comic book stars from all around the world. It was amazing. It really is close to my heart, this kind of events. So thank you, Nick, for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. It's nice to be here.
Can I just push this mic a little bit closer to you?
Of course you can.
Because your voice will sound rich and beautiful. Yeah, so,
I doubt that.
So, Nick, tell us a bit about yourself. Are you local to Shrewsbury? Have you always been local to Shrewsbury?
I am from Wrexham, but I have worked. I did work in Shrewsbury quite a bit, and I like Shrewsbury. It's a nice place. I often meet friends here. I've just come from meeting a friend now, actually. So
I grew up in Wrexham.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to Brynoffa.
Did you?
School. Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's probably not the best thing to shout on the podcast, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I went to Ysgol y Grango, which at the time I went there was the worst school in the district.
I grew up in Grisselt.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Again.
It's a place.
No, I do have fond memories and good friends from Wrexham. But that being said, I feel like wherever I go, I always trying to put 110% in. And I feel like it's weird because I'm not from Wrexham. I just grew up there. And I feel like if I was from Wrexham, I'd probably be proud to be from Wrexham. You know, I probably would have been proud. But like, I feel like Shrewsbury is the first place I've come to, and I've looked around and gone, I effing love this place.
Yeah, it feels like home.
You know, and it's just one of those places. So you living in Wrexham now? Or
Yeah, I am, yeah.
You've driven all the way from Wrexham to come here?
Yeah. I mean, I stopped off and saw a friend on the way, so, you know, it's all good.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And Comic-Cons. Yeah. Comic-Cons are a weird one, aren't they? Because there are different types of Comic-Con. There is a different feel, isn't there? I mean, your original Comic-Cons were literally comic book nerds in a room, swapping comics, speaking to the odd star of the comic book world. Yeah. And then it transformed into these massive a megalithic, huge.
Yeah.
Like if you went to San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, it's like its own village, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was saying to you on the way up that I went to. I try and go as often as I can to the big Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and that is absolutely huge. They take over the entire hotel, so yeah, it's massive.
I am a huge Star Trek fan and a Star Wars fan as well. I like both.
Yeah.
And I feel like anything that I don't know what it is, man. I feel like we all have stressful lives. We all have things going on, whether it's work, relationships, whether you've got things going on. And sometimes it's good to just transport yourself away to a different world. And I had a bit of a moment with Lower Decks.
Right.
And when it went live action with Strange New Worlds. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I have seen that. I really enjoyed it, but I'm curious to hear your opinion about that.
So, okay, if you're not with me, folks, stay with me. I'll explain. Okay, Star Trek has got many different forms, many different series, and they released a cartoon. Jack Quaid, who's from The Boys, Dennis Quaid's kid, was voicing one of the characters. It's a great cast, and what they would do is they would get voices of former Star Trek characters, and they'd have cameos. It was so fun, but it was a bit like it was a cartoon, but it was Star Trek canon. It fitted in with it. And there is Strange New Worlds, which has it follows it's a bit like a reboot of the original Star Trek with a new Spock and old characters with new personas, new people playing them.
Absolutely right. Yeah, it's sort of set around the Kirk era, but pre Captain Kirk, almost.
Pre Captain. You see in Captain Kirk a couple of forms of him, different versions of him.
Yes. Yeah.
But what they did is they took this cartoon. And these characters in the cartoon went through a portal, and they became live action characters within Strange New Worlds. And I was kind of like, I was like, oh my god, it was amazing for me because I love it when they do things like that.
Yeah, I loved it, and I think them using the same voice actors that do Lower Decks was brilliant, and you could see their gestures were the same. They were just Jack Quaid's character was just as manic as he is in the cartoons. It was I thought it was a really good piece of television.
When Captain Pike's standing over him and he wakes up and he's like, "Oh my god, you're real!" and he just pokes him in his belly.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we can geek out about this all day, but what I'm saying is, it does things to people. These kind of things. I mean, I'm. What day is it today? Wednesday. Ahsoka. A new episode of Ahsoka's out today, so I'm going to be watching that later. I get really excited. I mean, it's good to bring that to people in a form that people can shake hands with, look with, trade with, converse with other people. You could hear how excited I was just talking to Nick about this. Imagine having a room full of nerds like us. So, are you a frequent Comic-Con goer then? Is this something you've done?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I've been to a few of the big ones. There's a few big ones locally. I don't know if I'm allowed to name them or not.
You can. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Wales Comic-Con a couple of times, even though it's now mostly not in Wales.
Telford.
Yeah, in fact, they still do a Wrexham one. I was there this weekend because it's just in my backyard, you know. So
that was a big one though. They always tend to get good names in that.
They do. They are a little bit smaller than they are in Telford, just because of the size.
In Glandua, right?
Yeah, it's in Glandua, yeah. So, and I think one of the reasons why they had to move to Telford is because they just outgrew the venue. It became so popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been to some of the big ones. I've been to London Film and Comic-Con before now. And I've also been going to sort of some of the smaller ones. So I've been to, Bolton, Stockport, Ellesmere Port, there was one as well. So yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
I remember we were going to go to, which one was it? It wasn't Cardiff, possibly Cardiff. I was going to. So my friend is. Oh my god, I'm going to butcher this now because I don't read the books. The books that the actor for Spike that does Spike from Buffy, he voices some books, and people love them. I need to Google this now. And we had arranged with his agent to go and do an interview with him and get some voice stuff for the podcast.
Yeah.
There was a suicide attempt on the trains. It stopped all the trains. And I was going to drive down. I'm just going to type in Buffy. There's probably Buffy fans that are like James. What's his name? James Masters.
James Masters. Yeah.
Yes.
He was in. Wasn't he in Doctor Who as well?
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Not a big Who fan.
No.
Alex Westwood, who's an ex-co-host of the show, good friend of ours. We went to the Battle of Shrewsbury last year.
Okay.
And he turned up as Doctor Who. David Tennant, Doctor Who. Brilliant. And he was just shouting wibbly wobbly to people. And people were like, why have you dressed that? And he's like, well, it's historically accurate. And I was like, okay. And he's tried for years to try and convert me into a Who fan.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I really like Doctor Who. I think it sort of tailed off the last couple of seasons, I think. But overall, I really like Doctor Who. And, I can remember when I was a kid, especially, and the Doctor then was Sylvester McCoy, who was just at Wales Comic-Con this weekend. And, he was my Doctor, and I was in the moment, and I was really enjoying the feeling of watching it. And I thought about going back and watching those episodes again. But then I thought, you know what? If I look at it 30, 40 years on with modern production values and modern sensibilities, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'd rather just keep the memory of having enjoyed it as a kid, if you see what I mean. Yeah,
I am listening to you. I'm very sorry. I'm looking for James Marsters' books. They're on my mind now. But yeah, I think it's the wobbly sets. I mean, you're right. It's that kind of thing. I feel like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to go back and revisit it. I don't know. I feel like you gel with some things and you gel with others. I feel like at the moment we're going through a superhero. There's a bit of a lethargy going on with things like Disney Plus and DC. The kind of I feel like there's something going on there where the half-arse in a few of these movies and TVs. Some are good, some are good, but some. I feel sorry for Blue Beetle at the moment. We went to watch it at the cinema with my son. Absolutely adored it. I was really, really good. Yeah. Flash was good in parts, but looked ugly. Shazam was just god awful. It was terrible. I feel like they're just pumping out these TV shows and movies.
That's all DC though, isn't it?
Marvel as well. I feel like there's been a few things. We just started watching Daredevil again, right? Because there's a new season coming out. Yeah. And I'm looking at the writing, I'm looking at the dialogue, and I know this isn't MCU, it's kind of earlier stuff, but I'm thinking, this is beautifully made TV. It's beautiful. Like you can look at Daredevil and it looks as though you're reading a comic book. Every single scene looks like a panel of a comic book. Whereas some of the other shows, people were going over Moon Knight when it came out. And I was kind of like, it's not that great. Like I've seen better things.
I enjoyed it, I think. Yeah. I did enjoy the aspect of him, because he appeared to be not quite there, didn't he, when he was going through all of this. And I think that helped to bring, I think, potentially mental health issues to the fore, and just to say to people, these things are normal, there's nothing to be worried about, nothing to be afraid of. You reach out and speak to those people. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the whole sort of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, that whole thing. I watched that recently in order, and I really enjoyed that.
Iron Fist, I was just like, let's do something. I was like, do not go into the boardroom and confront these people because they'll near enough murder you. He goes to the boardroom, he confronts them, and they near enough murder him. Like, it's funny. By the way, the book files, I was lucky, and I'm very sorry, I didn't mean to be, was the Dresden Files.
Okay, yeah.
The Dresden Files are a series of books written by Jim Butcher and James Masters voices them. And my co-host, Tom Bruno in Vermont, is an absolute fan of these books. He listens to the audiobooks, right? And we had an agreement with James Masters. We were going to meet him. He was going to record something we could use for the podcast, and I was going to get pictures with him. And then we couldn't go because of the trains.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah. But we went to MCM, Birmingham, when we first started doing Thor's Kin. And it was a very interesting, because I'd never been to a Comic-Con before.
Right.
I'm not like that hot on being in a room with 50,000 people. It's not like something I realized I'd enjoy. And I kind of didn't in some places, but I interviewed cosplayers that you could tell were quite timid, nervous people, but in character, they would just come out and they'd be so confident. And that for me was fascinating, because I'd be like, yo, can I get a photo? And they'd be like, yes. And I'd be like, can I get an interview? And they'd be like, no. It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I walked into there thinking, because I was a member of the press and I had a press badge, I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to treat me like dirt. Oh my God, here comes the press, blah, 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 blah. But they were like, welcome. Here's a room. Here's a Wi-Fi password. Put your stuff down here. It will be absolutely safe. And in 5 minutes, we'll be speaking to Batman. And we were interviewing, what's the guy that did Batman? Oh God, he's from Man in the High Castle. Oh my God, Man in the High Castle. And I felt welcome. and I really enjoyed it. And we spoke to people. I went there twice, and I just had a really, really good time. Looking for the cast. What's his name? I've forgotten. I don't care. It's fine. But we had a great time. That's all I can say. So, what makes you want to create a Comic-Con in Shrewsbury? I know there's a gap because Comixolopia is not going anymore. Did you come to Comixolopia, by the way?
I didn't get a chance to, no, because it was over COVID, and I was quite cautious over COVID because somebody I live with works for the NHS, so I had to be kind of cautious. Well, I felt like I had to be kind of cautious, with that sort of thing. So, no, I never did. I was going to go to it, was it either this year or last year, and it wasn't on. That they stopped it, changed.
It was like every couple of years type thing.
Yeah.
They did a great one in 2019, which is the one we went to. And that was just one of the best experiences ever. I have this thing, I've mentioned it a few times, that it's weird to say that I'm friends with Charlie Adlard now, because I do. I saw him jogging just yesterday morning. And if I see him in a coffee shop, he'll go, hello, Alex, come say hello. And I'll be like, oh, hi, Charlie. But when we first met, I had a weird, giggly 16-year-old man crush on him. I'd be like, hi, Charlie,
Yeah.
And so we have this really funny story, me and Charlie. So if you're familiar with the world of comic books, you know that he co-created The Walking Dead, which is by far one of the highest grossing independent comic books of all time, right? And they had this mic drop moment in Walking Dead where they just stopped. It just ended. They didn't tell anybody. It was one of the biggest secrets in comic book history. It just stopped, and nobody knew. At that Comixolopia, Charlie Adlard was speaking to the one person in the whole of the UK that knew what was going to happen. Right. And there's me and Shane Hinton. We were waiting, and I was like, I haven't spoken to Charlie this event. I need to get an interview with him. So we're hanging around, and he's chatting to this guy on the stairs. And they finished the conversation. I shuffle over with my microphone. Hi, Charlie, can I get an interview? He's like, I'm busy. And he's usually really jolly with me. And I was kind of like, I said to Shane, I was like, Charlie's just been really like, not crappy with me, but he was not like the friendly chat. And 18 months later, I interviewed Charlie again for a good chat. And he goes, listen, I've got a bone to pick with you. And I was like, what? And he goes, I am talking to the one person in the UK that knows about this one thing that nobody else knows about. And there's the Shrewsbury Biscuit standing there with a microphone. He thinks I'm eavesdropping, and he thinks I know the one thing that nobody else knows in the UK. And this thing was massive. And we got this. It's a really fun story. It's really cool. But yeah, Comixolopia was great. So, I mean, what do you see in Comic-Cons when you go to them that you don't like?
That I don't like?
That you don't like. What are things you like, roll your eyes at? Because I know there are a few things people aren't too keen on.
Every Comic-Con is different. So I've been to some of the big ones, and I've been to some of the small ones now as well. I think if there's not a Q&A there, it doesn't encourage me to stay for very long. So, I'll look around the stalls, and I'll maybe get an autograph if I want it from that person. But I need something there to keep me there. And for me, that's a Q&A. So one thing that I'm not keen on is if there are no Q&As at a Comic-Con. So naturally, of course, there will be at Shrewsbury Comic-Con. So yeah, that's one thing that I don't like. Aside from that, there's not an awful lot. I'm not one for approaching cosplayers for photographs. It's not who I am, so I wouldn't do that. But there's not an awful lot that I don't like about a Comic-Con, really. Yeah.
For me, I think it's very good to promote local wholesalers of comic books. I feel that's really, really good.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you do too much at a Comic-Con, it just seems like a weekly market for comic books.
Yeah.
I feel like if you do that too much, it's a bit of the samey, unless there's something really unique there. And then you don't want to see like 12 rows of shops selling Funko Pops, which is do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. That's something that I have in mind, because that's something you have reminded me. I have been to a large Comic-Con where practically every other stall was a Funko Pop, and it just dilutes the market, because people come with a certain amount of money, and okay, they might buy 3 Funko Pops, but they're splitting that amongst 12 stalls rather than maybe 1 or 2. So they're just really diluting the market. So I am trying to keep a handle on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how are you funding all this? Are you getting sponsors in? Have you got like a pot of money you're sitting on to bring stars in? How does that all work?
Yeah. So I'm funding it through ticket sales, essentially, through sales of tickets and sales of the vendor stalls. I am about to start working on some sponsors as well. But yeah, that's where it's all coming from. So it'll be, appropriate to, I guess, predicted ticket sales.
And you're doing it at Shrewsbury Town Football Club, right?
I'm doing it, yes, just across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're big fans of the club. We've got season tickets. We've got a bit of a crush on the club. We love that very much.
Excellent.
We will not mention the 3-0 loss to Forest Green last night. We're not mentioning that. We're not mentioning it. Not at all. We love the club. So is this going to happen like in the stadium, on the car park? Because it's a huge car park.
There's a huge car park. No, it's going to happen in the hospitality suites. So they've got 3 big rooms. They've got the downstairs, which... And I'll say this all to you now, but the con's not for 6-7 months, so things might change. But my plan is to use the ground floor for the Q&As, the first floor for the V.I.Ps, the autographs, and also for the vendors. And also, one of the rooms is going to be a games room as well. So I've got Shrewsbury War Game Society coming with some Warhammer, through a couple of demonstration games and a participation game. I'm working on getting somebody there as well who will run a D&D or 2 D&D games as well. One in the morning, one in the afternoon. And these games will be for absolute beginners. So if you ever fancied playing D&D and you haven't before, sign up on the day, and we've got, I'm trying to arrange a friendly DM to come in and sort of do that with you. Plus, we do have some stuff going on outside. I know it's going to be April, so I'm not sure about the weather, but we've got Nick coming with his Back to the Future style DeLorean. And you can pay a small fee and get a photo or a selfie sat inside of it, which is great.
That's cool.
We've got the Jurassic Park Jeep coming with Dr. Hammond, the guy who looks like him. I think he'll have some dinosaurs with him as well.
Yeah. And
we've also got Preston City Ghostbusters coming as well, and they're bringing Ecto 2, which is a car that's been kitted out to look like Ecto 1. And they're also bringing Lightning McQueen as well. And those guys will be in the vendors room on the day with all of their props. They've got proton packs. They've got a life-size Slimer. They've got a massive, I think it's an 8-foot Stay Puft. And they will be very interactive. You can take photos with the kit on if you want, and that as well. So that's all going on there too. So I'm trying to get as many things to happen as possible. But, what am I trying to say? Yeah, I think just as many things as I can within the confines of the.
I bet your mind's racing all the time. I mean, I've got 2 months to. I mean, I'm scrambling at the moment. We're bringing Pod Aid back. Every year we do a 24-hour live podcast.
Oh, okay.
And I've got 2 months to pretty much. I've got a quarter of the guests lined up, and I'm scrambling now. I've given myself a week to get all my guests in, 24 guests. And in my mind, there's a little guy going, like, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to organize these things. It's not easy. And your mind just doesn't switch off. I'm trying to beg Kevin Eastman to come on my show. If you don't know who that is, he's the co-creator of the Turtles. And I'm speaking to his person, the people that look after him, and I'm like, please. And I'm waiting to hear back from him. And because sometimes it's mixed with a bit of heartbreak. There are people that I would love to get. Tomorrow, I'm going to see one of my biggest, I think probably the best. He is the best freestyle rapper on the planet, Harry Mack.
Okay.
Harry Mack is here in Manchester. I'm going to go see him. I'm speaking to his people. I'm like, yo, can we get Harry Mack for an hour just to come and talk to us?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost him anything. They just need an hour just to sit and talk to us. That could be a no. Is there anything that you've gone for at the moment where you just can't seem to attend? Is there any attain, should I say? Have you had any heartbreak with trying to book things?
Yeah, I think when it comes to some of the VIP guests, the people you see on television, the people you see, in films and that, some people that I wanted are unfortunately outside of the budget, unfortunately. But it's about if this con is a success, I'll do more of them, and if there's call for it, I'll expand the con as well. Mm-hmm. So with that comes more ticket sales, and with that that's what the ticket price goes on. It goes on the venue and it goes on the guests. So the more tickets I can sell, the more guests I can get.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to help you with it. If there's anything we can do, if you want someone to do panels, if you want to help doing interviews, if you want somebody out there with cameras, microphones, I could set up a studio too. I mean, I love coming to things like this. I think it's a great event. So if you want help with that, you can do. We can help you.
Fantastic. We've got a great MC coming. Ben Fenlon. He's done some stuff for Liverpool Comic-Con, and he's done a lot of horror stuff as well. And one of the guests we've got coming, Nathan Head. I'm sorry, Nathan Head.
I nearly nerdgasmed all over the table.
Nathan Head. He is quite big in the horror world, so that'll be quite good.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. I'm very excited by this.
Yes, I am. Yeah, but as you say, your brain's always going 24/7, and we've both got day jobs as well, and so yeah, I'm just trying to get it all in.
Are you doing this by yourself or is it a team?
I'm doing most of the organising for myself. I do have a team that I can count on for various different bits and pieces of things. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Maybe we can do some podcasting from the day. I don't know.
That's possible. Yeah, I could potentially get a room. That's something maybe we speak about that after.
I think I'd love to, because what we were doing with Comic Salopia was I'd interview someone, and then we'd have it as a separate interview, then we get it ready and release that separately. Okay, and then we do that. So we do that for every single person that was there. Yeah. But we could also teach people how to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like do a podcast, edit it, show people how we do it. Yeah. Release it. I don't know. When it comes to things like this, my mind is always racing. And I bet yours is too. Is there anybody you're waiting to hear off yet? Or I mean, with guests, are you still trying to find people?
So guests, I've got Hattie Hayridge, as you know, is the female Holly from Red Dwarf. I've got Cheryl Rowlands coming, who's big in the Doctor Who fandom. Nathan Head. I'm sorry, not Anthony Head. Not yet. Nathan Head coming, and I've also got from the sort of more behind the scenes sign. I've got Brian Muir coming, and he's worked on a lot of. He's in the art department and he's worked on a lot of films that everybody will know. And he's the guy who originally crafted Darth Vader's helmet and mask.
Wow.
So he's going to come, he's going to bring some props. There'll be a Q&A with him in that as well. He calls himself the Vader sculptor, and he is. But basically any amazing film from the 80s and early 90s, he was involved in it, somewhere, So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's going to be a great guest. And then from the comic side, I'm hoping to get a balance between media and comics, because I think it's important to do that, particularly here, because Shrewsbury is quite a creative town.
You are surrounded by comic genius.
Exactly, yeah. So Mike Perkins was one
good friend of ours.
Exactly, he's going to come, and I'm working on a couple of others as well. I'm not going to mention just in case it falls through, but yes, I'm hoping to get in total 3 comic guests.
Okay.
So yeah, and they'll have a panel as well.
On my list behind you, I've got Dan Berry and Christian Ward to speak to. My brother actually bought me a Batman comic book, a graphic novel for my birthday, and Christian Ward's and that. I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. He's kind of cool. Very nice guys. Obviously Charlie Adlard and Mike Perkins. Mike is a great guy. He's he's got so much time for people. Yeah. So generous with his time. Yeah. And we see each other at events all the time, and he'll always come give me a cuddle. Yeah. And he'll always come and say hello. We've got a great story because I love his Constantine, he calls him Constantine, but everybody in the world calls him Constantine. And I was like, he's drawn Constantine. I can't argue with the artist. Yeah. And he does this. I'll show you. I'll get it and show you. Yeah. And I said to my wife, man, that's amazing. I'd love that. So she spoke to Mike and she's like, I want to buy that. And he was like, I've run out, so I'll draw you one. So he drew one for me. And we went to Drawn, which is an art fair. And I was interviewing I was interviewing Mike Perkins while my wife was in the background with his wife, and they were doing this like weird drug deal with this painting that she'd bought for me. And it's in my bedroom now. So I'm going to start a Mike Perkins wall because his art is just phenomenal. Like,
yes, yeah,
brings life to
it. As you say, Mike Perkins has got a lot of time for people. I met up with him in Shrewsbury and we had a chat, and he took me to the museum that's having an exhibition. He showed me his artwork and artwork from other people as well. So yeah, I've seen his artwork.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about Comic-Cons and things, we've talked about how they can be sometimes generic. Do you think it's important to move people when it comes to Comic-Cons? Is it to display something that inspires a child, maybe wants them to become an artist themselves, or maybe even like, when I was growing up, we call them a chav. Someone's like, oh yeah, comic books, I'm not really my thing. But to convert them into someone that actually enjoys, I feel like when I decided to sort of tell people, listen, I'm a massive nerd, I'm sorry, I can't contain it anymore, I felt like a relief.
Yeah.
I loved it. I used to sit reading comic books. I used to love Spawn. Spawn was my thing. And at 12, 13, I'd sit and read Spawn. I wouldn't tell anybody about it. I wouldn't talk about it.
No.
But I feel like a Comic-Con might actually let people open up a little bit more. It's quite liberating.
Yeah, I think you're right. I also think that people who perhaps not into comics wouldn't go to a Comic-Con anyway. But maybe for those who are undecided and come along, yeah, I'm hoping that the displays, I'm hoping that the Q&As, I'm hoping that the cosplayers and just the beautiful props that people have spent time making. I hope that inspires them to do something sort of in that world. I was inspired myself, in fact, to pick up a comic book. So I haven't really actually read comic books in the past. I read the Beano and the Dandy when I was a kid.
Great comic books. My kid loves that.
Yeah, exactly. I think I ended up favouring the Beano. But then I didn't. I sort of just moved to books. I didn't really sort of find the appeal of comic books. I'm not saying they're not appealing. It just didn't speak to me. But then just this weekend, I was at Wales Comic-Con. And I picked up a couple of Star Trek The Next Generation comic books. And I'm like, these look interesting. I'll take a look at these. And I read them and I thought, actually, yeah, they were pretty good. Now, as it turns out, they were both from two separate series. And they were both like, one's like number 3 of 5 and was number 4 of 9 or something. So I decided to find all of the other ones now.
You're a collectophobe.
Well, I don't collect a lot, but maybe comic books. I collect autographs, and what I often do is have, if I can, have a photo with somebody and then have them sign it. So I've got a collection of a few of those. Mainly Star Trek people, as you might imagine. But yeah, so I think even for someone like me who's been going to Comic Cons for a few years now, can be inspired to just try something different.
Yeah. I remember I took my son Alfie to Comixolopia, and he loves The Walking Dead. In fact, I'll show you. I was just messaging him just the other day, and he was just doodling, and he was just like, "Oh, Dad, look at this." He got to sit with Charlie, get a drawing off him, and talk to him, and his message, because I just got a new phone today, so it's on over there. And he was just like, he loves it. So to see his mind open up a little bit, that was just really, really nice. What are your biggest challenges? What are the things you're struggling with the most with this?
Just throw that in there.
I love that. That was, see how quickly I moved moods then.
Yeah. I think potentially, because I've organised events before, but not a Comic-Con. So I think potentially organising V.I.Ps is different because you have to go through their agents. And some of their agents are not full-time agents. They also have a full-time job alongside what they're doing. So that takes a little bit of time. So that was something. But to be fair, even people who are full-time agents take some time to get back to you. And I'm a bit impatient. I want to get things sorted for this con in 6-7 months. And so I think trying to be a bit more patient with things has been a challenge for me.
It's a difficult one because I feel like the actual V.I.Ps, the guests, the people, tend to be more giving than the agents. I remember I was chatting to, I'm not even joking, I was casually just chatting with Tara Strong the one day. She's Harley Quinn. She's Powerpuff Girl. She is the biggest female voice actress on the planet.
Yeah.
And we were just casually chatting. This has happened twice. Once on Instagram, once on Twitter. It's weird. And I was like, the first time, I was like, I got this show called You Suck. You know, it's really good. You want to come on? She's like, absolutely. Sign me up. So we arranged a date. And then her agent got in touch with me and was like, she was down to do it. And her agent was like, and then the other time, they did start doing these like rooms on Twitter where you can just listen to people's conversations, weird things.
Yeah.
And there's this girl talking about how her obsession, not an obsession, but her love of Tara, and how it made her feel, because she felt like she really wanted to meet her. She knew she would never get to meet her, so it would make her depressed. And they were having this conversation, and Tara was so lovely. And afterwards, I messaged her, and I was like, that was beautiful, because a lot of stars would have been like, ew, stalker. But this was a genuinely nice conversation about mental health and about how she does appreciate her fan there, and she can love her from a distance and all this kind of thing. It was really gentle how she did it. So I reached out. I was like, that was amazing. And I was like, oh, do you remember a conversation we had? You got to try, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. You have to try, absolutely. Yeah.
But sometimes you stick your foot in your mouth, can't you? Because you'd be
You can. I think as well, I would have liked to get more props here, but again, it's looking at the confines of the space and the confines of what I'm working with. But you know, if the event is successful and I do more of them, I've got an idea of different things I'll be bringing each time. I don't want it to be the same. You know, if it is successful and I do it more often, then I don't want it to be the same thing all the time. You know, every time.
Yeah, of course, no, yeah,
same that. So that's actually been quite useful, looking at actually, okay, what is out there, you know, and that's been good.
So this is like a tester Comic-Con, really, just to see how you get on and then maybe grow from there.
It is. It's, you know, it is. Essentially, yes. If it's successful, you know, then
we'll go for it.
I'll do it more frequently. And then, you know, if there's enough interest, then we can look to expand, you know, either with doing it on multiple days or a larger venue or whatever it is. But really what I'm waiting for, and I know that the announcement was quite very well received. There's been a lot of support, not just from the fan base itself, but also from people like yourself, people like Mike, people like, you know, Shane Chebsey, like Katie from My Shrewsbury.
Katie Rink's great.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
And Kieran from My Geeky Life, he runs that page on Facebook. People just reaching out and saying, this is a great idea. Here's how I can help. Let me help you.
Okay.
And that's been really nice.
It is a very the community, I'll say the nerd community, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to discriminate against anybody that enjoys pop culture, but I consider myself as a nerd.
Yeah, same.
Okay, but that community is very welcoming. That's my wife coming in, by the way. We're not under attack.
Oh, I didn't actually hear it through the headphones on.
My wife and sons just come back.
Right.
It's a very welcoming community, you know, and Shrewsbury, like you said, is a very creative place. The places like Nerdy Cafe, which is a very nice place. I know it's changed hands now, but the ethos is there. It's the same. It's like come and enjoy this.
Yeah.
Like you said with D&D, if you've never done it before, come and have a look.
Come and have a go. You know, we'll try and help you, sort of thing. And I guess aiming to make it as open and friendly as well, and welcoming to all. You know, and trying to get a broad range of things there.
And Tom Corbett as well from Shropshire War Game Society, and those guys in general.
Yes, yeah.
They invited us to one of their game nights, and my schedule at the time was crazy. I think August. I think I did one podcast for the whole of August. It was that busy in my actual life that I couldn't squeeze anything in. And then so I've started a new job, and that's actually a quiet month for me so far on my fridge there. So I've got 3 podcasts this week. Trademark Blood next week, which is a great guy, great hip hop stuff. And Amir Wilson from his Dark Materials next week. So we've got a few things coming up. I'm trying to keep it like that at the moment.
Keep busy.
Yeah, because like I said, I've mentioned to you before, if I see an empty path, I'm going to run down it. If that makes sense, metaphorically.
Yeah.
Have you had to do that? Have you had to stop yourself overbooking or over extending yourself? I think.
Yes, I think I have. I mean, as I said, it's going to be a relatively small event, and that limits who I can book. It limits, the props I can invite. It limits this. So there are, but. Like I said, if it's successful, I'll end up taking away some of those limits, and so it would be bigger and better.
How have the club been with you? Are they
absolutely fantastic?
Yeah?
Poor Terry, she's the hospitality coordinator. She has helped me with the tape measure. She's answered 1,000 questions. She's been absolutely brilliant. The club's been amazing.
They are brilliant. We did our first pod aid at Shrewsbury Town, and the Shrewsbury Town It was Shrewsbury Town the community. It's now the Shrewsbury Town Foundation. We did it in their huts, and they gave us everything.
Yeah,
it was wonderful. They were like, as long as you're gone by 10 o'clock. And I just remember we'd just done a 24-hour podcast. Right, we had all the press in. We were just like, oh, well done, we did great. Yeah. People are cheering and stuff like that. I was like, right, now go. And we had to pack everything up and check everything in the car. We were gone. Like it was insane. But they were really, really, really cool. Yeah. I'm so glad that you're doing it there. Not only because I can walk there, but it's a great spot for people to come and see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you don't drive, there'll be a shuttle bus to and from the railway station. So you can buy the ticket for that in advance, or you can pay on the day. So
let's talk about the particulars, actually. So the date of this Comic-Con is?
April the 6th, 2024.
April the 6th, 2024.
It's a Saturday, yeah.
And where can people get their tickets and stuff?
If you look you can either go to shrewsburycomiccon.com and click on Get Tickets.
I went on the website earlier. It does work. It's great.
Excellent. Or you can look us up on Facebook, and I think the button's called the same thing on Facebook as well, just called Get Tickets. And you can get your tickets there. Tickets are £10 for adults, £7, I guess, for teens, so that's 10 to 17, and then under 10s are free.
Wonderful. I have got bit of. So I asked a couple of questions on Facebook earlier, yesterday actually.
Sure.
We got a couple of comments. I put, can I ask you, what are your most memorable Comic-Con moments wherever you are in the world? And I'll come to you today. I'll have a think about yours as well, because you've got a good Comic-Con moment. Yeah. Helen Hinton, she wrote, Basingstoke Comic-Con was amazing this year. David Tennant and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, oh my God, headlining. Yeah. And lots of actors were from my favourite show. During the auto session, everyone was queuing up for JDM. Jeff Dean Morgan. So we got to go and have leisurely chats with all our favourites. That's amazing.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, I remember going to a Star Trek con, and I just happened to. It was quiet, and I had just a chat with Nana Visitor, who's in Deep Space Nine. So she's really lovely. All the cast are.
Nice, that is. And she also had Wales Comic-Con.
Yeah.
We got a big hug from Jared Padalecki.
Oh, yes, he was there.
Who's that?
He's one of the brothers in Supernatural.
Oh, right, okay, that's why I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show, actually. My housemate's really into it, so I've watched it, and we went to the Comic-Con because Jared Padalecki was there. We were going to give it a miss that time, but then they announced Jared, and so...
My mate's always like, oh, you need to watch Supernatural, bro. It's really good, bro. I'm like, is it? Because I have a problem with the CW type shows like Arrow and Flash, because they all get a bit OC-ish. They all turn into like a rom-com soap opera type thing. Manifest started doing that as well. I don't know if you've seen Manifest.
I've seen the first couple of seasons of Manifest, so no spoilers.
No, but the one of the main characters does this weird thing with his glasses, whips his glasses off when he's like onto something, or he's stressed about something. He whips his glasses off, and he always play like the organ in the. There's something about that I don't like. So I started watching Lucifer. Where I loved Lucifer to start off with. Very matter of fact, and I love that he'd just be like, "Oh, darling," he just tell it straight, and I love that. But then that started getting a bit weird as well, you know. There was always a love interest there between Lucifer and the detective. I think that's why he showed an interest, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I need to rearrange the way I look at the world, I think. Ryan Williams, our good friend from the US, he says, going to the first Silicon Valley Comic-Con and doing a photo op with Stan Lee, I was so nervous and forgot to speak to him. Imagine not speaking to Stan Lee. But he was but as I was leaving the photo, Stan Lee commented on my Spider-Man T-shirt. That same day, I participated in the QA with Jim Cummings, Winnie the Pooh himself.
Wow!
And he did a few voices. I auditioned for a Winnie the Pooh role. For the I used to do a bit of acting at Shrewsbury Prison.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they were going to do a twisted fairy tales thing.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the plot of that particular thing because it never happened, and I think it's in someone's notebook still.
Right.
But I played a really depressed Winnie the Pooh. And I was like, hello, I'm Winnie the Pooh. And it wasn't brilliant, but it was like the best that they had in the room, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Jim Cummings, though.
Excellent guy. I was at London Film and Comic-Con, and I just sat down just because I wanted to rest my legs. And they had one of these Q&As, but like out in the open. I just sat down and I ended up watching, I can't remember what his name is now, the voice of Mario. He's just retired. But the voice of Mario was there.
Charles Martinet.
Yeah, Charles Martinet. There giving a talk. And it was absolutely fascinating.
He is like, I've met him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's electric. And I remember MCM, I was there and I got to interview him, which was really nice. I got an interview somewhere. I think that was Thorskin, actually, so that might not exist anymore. I don't know, I'll have to have a look. But I'll definitely have the audio somewhere. But what a nice guy he was. I remember asking him to do a voice for Mario, for Timmy over there. And he was like, I'd love to, but I can't because it's copywritten.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, but he was really sad about it as well.
Yeah.
By the way, the Batman I spoke to was Jason O'Mara.
Okay.
He voices Batman in one of the animated movies, which were brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, well, wasn't that the one that Luke Skywalker voiced the Joker?
Yes. Yeah. Mark Hamill.
Thank you. Yeah.
So when I read Batman, it's Kevin Conroy is my Batman.
Right.
And I voiced him. I voiced him in Ant McGinley is a great guy, and he's got a friend who made he's a great musician, and they put a compilation for him, and I was just like Alfred, I was doing all these voices, and I was like doing all these fighting things. It was it was wonderful. It really was. Brilliant. He is my Batman, and Mark Hamill's my Joker.
Yeah.
But Jason O'Mara was really good as well. I love the animated movies. They did a great job. Don't be put off by how bad DC have done recently with movies. Go and watch the animated stuff because.
Okay.
Under the Red Hood is I cry at that movie every time I watch it. Yeah. There's a scene in that movie that absolutely breaks me every single time I watch it.
Wow.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
Comic-Con, have I got a good Comic-Con moment? I'm trying to think now.
Well, I've got one.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think? So, growing up, I'm a Star Trek fan, as you know, and mainly Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I had a bit of a crush on Deanna Troi, played by Marina Sirtis.
Who didn't growing up, man? Who didn't?
Yeah. And I got the opportunity to meet her at the Star Trek Las Vegas convention. I think it was 2016, that one. And I started queuing up and I chickened out because I'm like, I can't, because
anxiety, I get it.
Anxiety, I'm one of those people, pretty
sausages.
Well, that's me in my everyday life. Now you imagine that with that plus anxiety.
Yeah.
And then I was there with a good friend, and she said, "Look, you have to meet her." So I did and met her, and she was absolutely lovely. She tried to talk to me about football. I'm not a football fan, but she tried to talk to me about Wrexham Football Club. This is obviously before it was bought by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, and she was absolutely just amazing. So that was a good moment for me. Absolutely good moment for me.
How do you feel about the whole Wrexham acquisition thing? As a guy who lives in Wrexham,
I think it's done a lot of good for the town. One might say more good than the council's done the last 40 years. But but no, I think it's done a lot of good for the town. It's brought in a lot of interest to the club, and that translates to, ultimately it translates to people investing in the town.
Yeah,
which is what I think that the town needs. It's Wrexham's an old market town, and it battles on and it survives. It's got a good heart to it. But I think we needed that injection of celebrity / overseas interest just to boost the town a little bit more.
Just a bit of love. When I was growing up, Wrexham was just kind of this place that was just there. Before I moved away from Wrexham, that was the time Eagles Meadow just opened up, and everything was started closing on the high street. So it's a bit of neglect there, and it's good to see that there's a bit of love there. And for the town, I think that's wonderful. I am more excited about McElhenney than Reynolds. Don't get me wrong.
Are you?
I love Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I love Ryan Reynolds. I really do. Deadpool is an amazing character, and he personifies that. In no way anybody else could do that. But I'm a big fan of independent creators, and Robert McElhenney, Charlie Day, all that team behind Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. They created one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, whilst holding cameras up with broom handles and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They did it with next to nothing. Yeah, and that always deserves respect from me. And that's why I love Kevin Smith, because he is one of the independent greats.
He is.
When it comes to podcasts, podcasts too, Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great event, and you have the support of the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Whether you want us there or not, I'm going to be there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Literally, it's at the football ground. We've got a season ticket. That should get us entry anyway. I'm joking. I'm joking. No. He's like, no. Buy a ticket. Yeah. But no, if there's any way you can, are you looking for help with sponsors and stuff still? So if anybody's listening to this, would you accept?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're looking to help for sponsorship. And there's lots of things you can sponsor. You can sponsor the V.I.Ps green room. So they have a little room aside where they can just, take a moment, and we keep them sort of fed and watered. You can sponsor a room. You can sponsor some of the Q&As. It's entirely up to you.
Are you looking for vendors as well?
I've got vendors almost sold out very, very quickly.
Nice.
I've got quite a few local people coming, which is great.
That's great.
I've got about 6 or 8 tables left.
Are these comic book artists that are going to turn up?
Yeah, you've got some comic book artists. You've got the Shropshire DM. He's coming. There's a guy who, local guy who
Joel.
Yeah. The local guy who prints 3D prints miniature figures. There's going to be a mix of people, and hopefully not too many Funko Pops if I can help it.
Joel is wonderful, and Joel he messaged me. So I put a thing up on Facebook last week going. So I got back from Turkey and realised I didn't have a podcast to release. So I was like, help. I need a guest for tomorrow. And Joel messaged me, and he's electric. You turn the mic on and he just goes. Yeah. Like, he's wonderful. Yeah, so
I get that impression through. And I've only ever emailed Joel, but you sort of get that impression with people that they're quite dynamic,
Yeah, he's wonderful. So Joel, if you're listening to this, I'm going to come your way very soon. Get you on the show again.
Fantastic.
You guys are going to love it. Well, thank you so much for coming to speak to me today.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I wish you the absolute best. Before we sign off, I know we've said it in the show, but remind people again, the date of this Comic-Con is?
It's April the 6th, 2024 at Shrewsbury Town Football Club, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Wonderful. Get your tickets, guys, from Shrewsbury Comic-Con.
.com. Or you can go via the website, via the Facebook as well.
Yeah, get liking that Facebook page as well, guys. I'm going to share everything on our Facebook, and also I'm going to put a link to the website on the readout for this podcast. So if you're wondering where you can buy tickets, click on where the text is at the bottom of this podcast, and there will be a link.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. What a great guy Nick is. It was really great speaking to him. I really do hope you enjoyed that. Really looking forward to the event. For your tickets and for the website, please look at the readout for this podcast, the text that's underneath it. If you click read more, there will be a link there for websites, tickets and stuff. And if you, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, if you want to get involved with Shrewsbury Comic-Con, please get in touch with Nick via the Facebook or the website. Before I go, I want to speak to you guys about Pod Aid. We are, about to. I've got a few weeks left to get our guests in, get everything booked in for the 11th of November. It's our 3rd year doing this. We have got a great venue, thanks to Shop Doc and to Helen from Lincoln Davis for securing that for us. At the moment, I'm still looking. We're going to start looking at sponsors. I'm going to intensively start messaging people. If you want to sponsor an hour of Pod Aid, please get in touch. It's £100 or a donation of £100. All money goes to Lincoln Davis, and for that £100 your business will feature for that hour. So it would be, this hour is brought to you by such and we'll mention your company, we'll bring up the logos, we can even display your logo throughout that hour. So if you want to sponsor an hour of Pod Aid, please get in touch with me. My email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. So save the date, guys. 11th of November is Pod Aid, 9 a.m. from that day till 9 a.m. the day after. We're building the team. Tom Bruno's coming back. George Lugo's coming back. Liam Tinsley's coming back. And we've got a few special co-host guests as well. So this is going to be very, very good this year. So Pod Aid, yes, it's happening. I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you for tuning in to this great podcast. Thank you to Nick. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.